Welcome to the Wealth Marketing Podcast, where we explore the latest trends, challenges, and opportunities shaping the financial industry today. In each episode, we bring you insightful conversations with industry leaders sharing practical, actionable strategies to help advisors deepen relationships and meet growth goals. I hope you enjoy. Hi, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Wealth Marketing Podcast. And today is a special edition because today is our 2026 Marketing Kickoff podcast. So today I'm going to be doing something a little different. Most of the conversations that I have with whom I work or people who I come in contact with, most of the marketing questions I get are less about the why behind marketing, because most of us have accepted the reality that we're in now, that marketing is a necessity. It's not something you can sort of get around, but more about the how. So how do you get started? How do you implement a marketing strategy? What does a marketing strategy look like from a practical perspective? And so today I'm going to take you through our brand roadmap workbook. This is an actual document that we have. I have presented this to several firms. It's been very well received. We've done masterclasses on this content. So I thought it would be great to walk you through step by step through our brand roadmap, which is essentially your guide to kickstarting your marketing. And what better time than New Year's to start thinking about what you want to do in the new year to fuel your growth, to increase your pipeline, to accomplish your growth goals, whether it's new clients or increased wallet share from existing clients or increasing your referrals or increasing the amount of conversations and touch points that you have. Or maybe it's just to deepen your existing client relationships. Whatever your goal is, this is how you can accomplish that goal. This is essentially divided into two pieces. What I like to call the foundations. So identifying your ideal client, thinking about our brand voice and our value proposition. And then the second piece is the execution. So how do you get started? How do you take the foundations and put them into a marketing plan that will actually fuel growth into the future? And not just growth for growth's sake, smart growth, intentional growth that is based on the people who you want to work with, right? Eventually, you will have the option to turn business away because it doesn't fit your ideal client profile. And that is a beautiful thing to have. So let's get started. So the first piece of our foundational work to get started with your marketing is to identify your ideal client profile. And this is something that I have spoken a lot about because it is so important. You really have to know who it is you want to work with before you start marketing into the marketplace. If you don't know who you're talking to, then it's not going to make very much sense, and it's certainly not going to be effective for growth. So when we talk about an ideal client profile, I like to think about who are the people who you currently work with, who are your favorite clients, and not just their AUM. When we think about who people are, we want to think about what makes them a person and what are the building blocks of that relationship. So what are their financial goals of the people you like to work with? What are the primary challenges of your ideal client? What stage of life are they in? What is their typical net worth or their income level? Where are they geographically? Are they an entrepreneur? Are they business owners? Are they wealth inheritors? Are they multi-generational families, or are they wealth generators, young professionals who are generating wealth? Are there particular industries that your favorite clients are focused on? Importantly, I like to think about how does your ideal client consume content? So are they readers? Do they get their content from podcasts? Are they social media people? So we want to think about where they are consuming their information. I also think about what is their life view? Do they have any political affiliation? Are they on social media? If so, what channels are they on? Are there any personal values or lifestyle factors that you can pull out? Do you work with people who value ESG or values-based investing? Are the people who you enjoy working with looking for a specific expertise, such as trust and estates planning or tax planning or alternative investments or private investments. So all of these things we should be considering when we think about our ideal client profile. And this typically should come from people with whom you already work and who you really enjoy working with. And these qualities will form your ideal client personas. You can have multiple personas with whom you want to work. It is ideal to have one or two or three ideal client personas. This will help you focus your marketing on those people. Here's an example of an ideal client persona that I have come up with a client. Women who are newly in control of their wealth. They are seeking specialized advice for financial security or post-divorce or death of a partner. They're overlooked in previous wealth management relationships. They are still creating wealth and in need of financial planning. They listen to podcasts, and the investments they seek are low risk because they have a need to protect the wealth that they have. The goal is to provide for her family in her new life. This is a very specific ideal client profile that we created for a specific client based on their favorite clients. So it's nothing new. We're not striving to work with people whom we've never worked with before, but these are people who we have a success and track record with. We have proof of concept. The next piece of our foundational work is going to focus on your value proposition. Your value proposition should be detailed enough to provide a few specific pieces of information. The first one is what we like to call the 3 W's: what you do, who you serve, and why you serve them. The second part is the solution. So, what are the game changers that you provide for them? What are your differentiators as a firm? And what are the table stakes that you probably have in common with other firms? And then the proof. So, things like case studies and client retention rates, rankings and media exposure that highlight your thought leadership, testimonials, and of course, your content through which you tell these stories. So, to think about our value proposition, we've got a few questions that we can ask ourselves. So, what are the unique problems or challenges that you solve for? What do you help people to do day in and day out? Instead of saying something like, we provide financial planning services for young professionals, how about we say something like, we help young families stop worrying about money so that they can focus on what they value. That's a lot more memorable than providing financial planning services. So we want to think about what we're doing. We want to think about who we're working with, right? So be specific. Really don't want to hear a number for this. Who we're working for should sound like divorced women, young professionals, business owners. You get the idea. One big piece of our value proposition should be our differentiators. So what are you doing different than other firms out there? And sometimes it's hard to identify our differentiators because in this industry, many firms do the same thing. So we like to think of it in a lot of different ways. We think about differentiators in who we're serving, right? So not that many firms focus on divorced women. Not that many firms have a special offering for business owners. Alternatives and private investments are still a differentiator. So we want to think about things that differentiate us in the marketplace as it relates to our competition. Why should people choose your firm over another firm? And then we think about the proof points. So can you show clear, measurable results? Investment returns would be a very clear way to show. Client retention rates would be a way to show measurable results. Long-term growth or your capability in helping people achieve their goals. All of those things serve as proof points to what you're doing. So we want to think about all those pieces when we're creating our value proposition. The next piece of this foundational work would be to think about your brand voice. What are the top 5 adjectives that you would use to describe your firm's personality? Is your firm compassionate? Are you knowledgeable? Are you cutting edge, dynamic, humble, smart, energized? You should be able to come up with 5 adjectives that describe your company, and this will help you to hone in on your brand's voice. The final step in this foundational brand work is to identify the pain points of your ideal client profiles. So think about each persona and think about the challenges that they experience and literally make a list of the conversations that you have most frequently with these people. This should come from actual client conversations that you're having day in and day out, over and over again, about probably the same subject matters over and over and over again. Those same challenges keep coming up. So we want to think about those challenges and actually make a list. Here are some of the top challenges that we hear our partner firms talk about in their ideal client profile scenarios. Is there enough money to sustain the current lifestyle? What is the new normal for my financial life? Is there a need for planning documents? Do I need a new will? Do I need a trust? Do we have enough money to pay for all of our children to go to college? Or if you're in the ultra high net worth space, how can we prepare our heirs to be good stewards of our assets? How can we pass our values on to our children? How can we instill the values that led us to create this wealth in the first place in our children who've never really had to work? Do we need generation skipping trusts? Should we be thinking about private investments? Should we be thinking about alternative investments and how to incorporate those things into our portfolios? So as your ideal client profile shifts, the challenges should also shift. Don't make the mistake of listing challenges for people who you don't work with. Focus on your ideal client personas where you have proof of concept, where you've been successful, and who you enjoy working with. So in this foundational work, we've talked about ideal client profile. We've talked about your brand voice. We've talked about your value proposition. And we've talked about the top challenges that your ideal client personas are facing. In our next episode of this 2026 Marketing Kickoff, we're going to talk about getting started. So how do you take this foundational work and put it into play? And if you would like this brand roadmap to sort of guide you through this process, we're happy to send it to you. Just email me at the link below and we'll send it to you directly. You won't want to miss the next episode. Stay tuned.